short documentary, an overview of the discovery, anatomy, extinction and technology of Neanderthals will be discussed. Come join me in the world of the Neanderthals. Discovery. The extinct species Homo Neanderthalensis were the closest relatives to Homo sapiens. They lived in a territory that spanned from Iberian Peninsula to Eastern Asia and as far north as Wales, during a time of cold temperatures and widespread forests. A Neanderthal skull was found in 1856 in Neanderthal Valley, Germany. Initially they were believed to have been of human origin. In the James Mitchell Museum today we have the skull cap plaster cast from the original find. William King was the first to distinguish that these were a distinct species from modern humans. He called them Homo Neanderthalensis. William King was the first professor of geology in Galway. William King, as seen pictured here, proposed this during a time when religion was a focal point of society and when creationism was widely accepted. This theory of a distinct human species was proposed just a few years after Darwin's publication, Origin of Species. This questioned the validity of creationism. With William King's publication, light had been thrown on the origins of man, as predicted by Charles Darwin in The Origin of Species. Anatomy.
Hello there. Noticeable differences are seen between the Neanderthal skull and the Homo sapiens skull. In the Neanderthal skull, it is much larger, elongated, and has a protruding mid-facial region. Features seen in the Neanderthal skull are larger brow, larger eye sockets, a larger nose cavity, and a larger plug cavity. From fossil evidence, it's clear to see that Neanderthals had a smaller ear canal, which suggested less agility and less balance. A high eye bone found in Kabara Cave, Israel, argues that Neanderthals might have had the ability to speak, even have their own dialect.
The Neanderthal skeleton was much shorter, stockier, and designed to support more muscle mass. Fossil evidence of the Neanderthal skeleton showed that they had a stronger right arm, seen from muscle markings on the bone. The forearm of the Neanderthal skeleton shows that they had a powerful grip, seen from a large curve of the radius, which would help them in their hunting. The Neanderthals have larger lungs than Homo sapiens, which helped them in their cold environments in which they lived. Neanderthals had very powerful legs, seen with large flaring hips, but they would not have been as fast runners compared to the Homo sapiens.
Neanderthal tools.
Neanderthals were skilled tool makers, fashioning sharp, robust stone-flake tools which belonged to the most Neolithic tradition, lasting from about 300,000 to 30,000 years ago. These tools are made using the Vawa technique, which involved making precision strikes to a flint core stone to give the basic shape to the desired tool, and then finally a carefully aimed strike to remove this flake from the core. These tools were generally multi-purpose in use, but we could see in the transition from the middle to upper Paleolithic period that these tools began to become much more specialised for specific tasks, as well as the utilisation of bone and antler in tool making. Here we can see some examples of the stone tools they made. Here we have a spearhead used in hunting, a scraper which they would use to remove the flesh from animal hides. These hides would then be later used to produce shelters or clothing. Here we have an example of a hand axe used for cutting down branches, small trees, for tool making or for making fires. And a hand knife which would be used in the butchering of prey. Here we have an example of a Neanderthal spear, reproduced using modern day tools. The spearhead would have been attached to the spear shaft using a thick adhesive epoxy-like resin extracted from birch bark. This is actually one of the oldest discovered industrial processes of any hominoid species. The spearhead would then finally be secured to the shaft using plant fibres, sinew or leather straps. The spear would have been used in close quarters to stab their prey, and with their considerable strength would have delivered very lethal blows. The spear, however, was not designed as a projectile, unlike Homo sapiens spears, which could be used from a much safer distance to take down large, dangerous prey.
Extinction.
Neanderthals became extinct approximately 30,000 years ago. Debate currently revolves around two extinction theories, the first being climate change and the second being competition with anatomically modern human beings. So with climate change, we would have had a transition from a warmer climate into a cooler climate. And the competition would have happened when humans arrived in the same living space as Neanderthals, and this would have created competition for food and resources between the two species.
A massive ice age known as oxygen isotype stage 3 coincided with the Neanderthal extinction event. This ice age arrived quickly and was full of rapid fluctuations in temperature. As a result, ocean currents were disrupted and the Gulf Stream was shut down. This would have prevented warm water from the equator being transported to Europe. Neanderthals could have died during this period as they were unable to survive dramatic reductions in temperature.
Competition for resources may have been a factor in the demise of Neanderthals. After the Heinrich event 4 cooling period, modern humans were able to expand into Neanderthal territories. This would have led to extreme competition between the two.
Due to genetic research in comparing Neanderthal DNA with modern human DNA, a new theory of assimilation into the Homo sapien population has arisen, with modern-day Europeans and Asians showing between 2 to 4% Neanderthal DNA, while Africans show the least percentage of Neanderthal DNA. This further supports the theory that Neanderthals evolved in Europe from Homo heidelbergensis, separate from Homo sapiens, who migrated out of Africa at a later stage.
And so this concludes our documentary on Neanderthals. We hope you enjoy it. And don't forget, you never know how much Neanderthal DNA could be in you.
Night for a smile.